Hello there, Lisa Fitz here from Project 7 and welcome to our check-in service. So this is where we're going to hook up with our previous headline producers and our alumni from all around the world. We're going to find out where you are, what you're doing, what you're working on, how you're doing it, that kind of thing. Anyone who's been to one of our Project 7 events knows what an intensely challenging and rewarding week it can be, where forever friendships are made and creative connections that last are created. And this is the check-in service. So we're going to try and put everyone together so we can hook you up with your Project 7 kin.
And today we're checking in with music creator, performer and Project 7 alumni Estere. Estere's individual style of electric blue witch hop crosses cultures from electronic, folk to R&B. Based in Wellington, New Zealand, she's an international reach and her music has been compared to the likes of Erykah Badu and Kimbra. Estere has played live solo shows at the Wellington Jazz Festival and Opera House, Glastonbury and WOMAD, and has supported Grace Jones on her New Zealand tour in 2018. Her first self-produced album was released in 2015 with Paris record label Pro7ect and earned her accolades from prominent media outlets such as Disco Naivety and Elle magazine. Her second album, My Design on Others' Lives, released in 2018, was championed by New Zealand radio as an exceptional record, an immersive experience unlike anything you've ever witnessed. Estere has been twice nominated for New Zealand Music Awards, including the Best Producer in 2018 and the Critics' Choice Award in 2015. Her soon-to-be-released third album, titled Archetypes, is being co-created with Project 7's headline producer Stu Jackson and is proof that the Project 7 community reaches far and wide.
Hello, Estere. It's Lisa Fitz here, checking in. How are you?
Hi, Lisa. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, really good. We're coping. The sun's shining. That helps.
Awesome. It's good to hear.
So where are you at the moment, Estere?
I'm in Wellington in New Zealand, so isolated on an island.
So tell me, what are you working on at the moment?
So I just finished recording a new album a couple of months ago, and so just been working on the final touch-ups of that and kind of adapting a rollout plan given the circumstances that we're currently faced with. So just looking at different ways of releasing the album and how best to do that in a world where touring might not be as much of an option. So so doing that and kind of just keeping my creative endeavours close to me, so still doing lots of writing and experimenting with beats and producing and like playing some guitar, trying to practice my scales so I get better at that.
That's good. That's handy. Good thing to do when you're on lockdown, I suppose.
Rock and roll, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you are one of this new generation of artists that you're not only the songwriter, you come up with the concept, you are a self-produced artist, you collaborate with other producers and other artists as well, but you pretty much have the hand on everything in your Estere pie. How do you manage time-wise? How do you do the management side of the artist all the way to the video and then the touring? How do you kind of work all the aspects into your daily life?
Well, so I think like a lot of what I've done by myself in the past has been from necessity, like maybe because the money hasn't been there, or I haven't had known the right people or had the team around me to kind of help me with certain things. So it's a shifting thing in terms of what roles other people play in the project. And something I've been really looking at as an independent artist and someone who's used to doing quite a lot independently, like how to collaborate with people and really take an honest look at what's going to further the project and help grow the art and the project itself, as opposed to really holding on to that idea of wanting to do everything. myself. But to answer your question, I think for me, like, I'm quite A plus B equals C kind of person. Like, I'm quite privy to logic and to thinking about how things equal up. And so if I don't understand how something works, I feel a little uneasy. Like, if there's so I have in the past had management, and they've done all this stuff in the shadows, and I haven't really understood what that was. And then when I started looking into managing myself for a while, I was like, I didn't know how anything worked. And I realized that that was quite a handicap in a way, because like, you just don't really understand the industry and the business side of things like you probably should if you want to, like, be empowered in all areas.
But it's something that you can't just know. It's like music production, isn't it? You have to learn, you need to find out, you need the experience. I mean, it's the same with your production work. You stepped, you're in front of the mic and behind the mic purely because you want to empower your music.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like compression. Like, how compression is such an arbitrary thing, and it takes ages. Like, it took me ages to be able to understand what it is, what it does, how it works. And I feel like that is the crux of being a creative musician and having and leading projects. It's like you got to live it and do it, and also work with other people.
So moving on from working with others, your latest album, Archetypes, is co-created with Stu Jackson, our Project7 headline producer. And I know that Stu went to New Zealand to work with you, and you've been over here to Bristol as well, but you must do a lot of remote working between the two studios. You're 11 hours ahead in New Zealand. Can you give us some top tips about remote working with other songwriters and producers that can help us all?
So Stu and I did a lot of communicating on email and text, but we also FaceTimed sometimes, and that was really nice because we could see each other's faces and like have a little bit of more of a personal kind of chat. And I think that's quite important because what you're doing is like quite heavily involved, like you're working quite closely with each other if you're working on a creative project. So it's really nice to put a face to that work.
Did you find it frustrating though, the time difference? Like if you'd be working on something in the morning and think, I need to contact him now just to sort of save time and not go down the wrong alleyway. Did you find that sort of timeline frustrating, or did you kind of take it in your stride?
Yeah, I didn't find the timeline too frustrating. And when it came to projects, like Stu would reply really quickly. I think he's just like totally pro in that area, and like he wouldn't leave anything for long, because I think I would have found that a little harder then if like, and also like a lot of the making of the music we did together in the same space, and it was just the tweaks that I would come back to him with, and that wasn't as urgent.
So let's talk about your live shows then. So you sort of stepped out originally as a solo artist with your MPC 1000 sample station. Her name is Lola. And then you've evolved from that, haven't you now? So can you tell us a little bit about your live performance, the evolution of your shows?
Yeah, I started off doing solo stuff with Lola, the MPC, and then I started to think, this show would be stronger if it was more dynamic. So I added more instruments for me to play solo. So there was like a microcorg on stage. I had like a rototom rack that I played drums to, and then I had an electric guitar. So it got pretty like busy. This new music is much more guitar based. So I play quite a lot of guitar on this. And my main focus is like, with this band that I've been performing with so far has been guitar and vocals, and then some songs with Lola, but always with the band. But in terms of touring, like being a solo artist and being able to kind of just have one schedule that you're trying to work with, and one person to travel the world, the whole world, is a lot more economic and probably a lot more logistically straightforward. So there's there's a push and pull, because obviously performing with a band, there's more people on stage, there's dynamic. Yeah. And so that's something that I'm always kind of weighing up, is that between having, what kind of show can you build, and how can you make sure that it's going to be a really cool show, but also something that you can actually tour.
So you've studied anthropology and philosophy at Victoria University, and you've just finished your master's in creative enterprise, and your thesis was on concept albums, which is part of the project that you've been working on with Stu Jackson. Do you run in tandem your academic work with your music, or do you find that they inform each other? How do you manage that side of your life?
Well, I started doing music when I was at uni.
Okay.
I started making beats with Lola when I was at uni, and I found it quite productive because I'd have all this uni work to do, and so I'd really prioritize making use of the time that I did have to make music when I wasn't having to write essays, and I'd just stay up all night learning the tech and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And so I like studying and writing music at the same time. I think that with anything, parts of what you learn can inform you, and parts of it probably can hinder you. Because I was looking at concept albums, I chose a concept to look at, and then that concept became archetypes. So I did quite a lot of research into psychology and Jungian theory and dream psychology and stuff like that. And that was all part of the study. That was all part of uni. I think sometimes, though, when things become hyper intellectualized, it can be a little bit of a restraint as well. If you're thinking too much about something.
Estere, you were our guest featured artist at Project 7 2018. And you worked with Ian Wallman and Talvin Singh that year. Can you think about a memorable Project 7 moment from your experience of coming along to our songwriting retreat?
Yeah, I think it was just the incredible environment that was everyone together in a space, just everyone being there in that space and being there to create together and to write songs, and all these great producers and songwriters coming together and just dreaming up stuff. I feel like that's actually quite a rare scenario. And I've been to other songwriting workshops or song camps kind of, but none where per se I've not been to anywhere people are together like that, and afterwards you can spend time and have a drink and have a meal, and that was really cool. That was really special.
Yeah, I think a lot of you do make friends and relationships obviously in the studio, because it's quite a hectic environment. You've got to write, record, mix and master a song in sort of 8 hours. But a lot of friendships are really formed around the dinner table and at the social events, the playbacks in the evening. Often artists who don't get a chance to work with each other at the event form good friendships and take that away and collaborate outside of the event, having sort of met and lived together for a week in an environment like that. It's really unusual.
Yeah, for sure. That was really, really cool. Yeah.
So, Estere, what's on your playlist at the moment? What music are you listening to?
So just recently I've started listening to a bit of Steve Lacy, who is in the internet, and he records a lot of his music through his iPhone, but has, I think, some kind of interface that can go into GarageBand through his iPhone. So that's interesting to hear the end result of that, and it's cool. He comes up with these quite funky guitar riffs and then these kind of odd but really palatable melodies that go with that.
So, Estere, I'm going to fire some quick questions at you. Choose what you prefer, cat or dog?
Cat.
You thought about that one.
Yeah, I was going to say dog, but definitely cat.
Analog or digital?
Digital.
Stones or Beatles?
Beatles.
A book or a movie?
A book.
Heels or flats?
Flats.
Prince or Stevie Wonder?
Previe.
That's hard.
Wonder? It's really hard. Different days, different moods.
If you had to have one on a desert island, who would it be?
Prince.
Yeah. Night owl or early bird?
Night owl.
Oh, Estere, you're an amazing musician, fantastic artist. Thank you so much for checking in with us and for being part of Project 7.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
And we wish you all the best, and we look forward to hearing your new album. And take care.
Thanks.
See you soon.
Thank you. Have an awesome Project 7 at Rockfield Studios.
Thanks, love. We will. It's going to be great.
Exciting.
See you soon.
Cool.
Bye.
Nice to see you, Lisa. Bye.
For more info and to apply to one of our Project 7 songwriting retreats, visit us at project7.com.